Good morning. I want to talk a few minutes about something that's been on my mind a lot, which is learning and education. So as a leader, you have to be a consummate learner as well as an educator of your team. And so I think a lot about the most effective ways to do that. And I think about learning in three broad categories. One is kind of direct from people, like from mentors and coaches, from people that report to you, from an interaction, human interaction. And I think about, the academic side. So academics would be something attached to academics, like a course, a degree, books, heavy academic work, obviously. And then lastly, by physically doing the thing that you're trying to learn. And I think that the key piece to those is really the last one, which is the doing. If you don't do it, you're just not going to retain it. And if you can't retain it, then what good is it for you? And you could have philosophy and a lot of ideas spinning around in your head. But when you try to actually put the rubber to the road, you find that you missed things that were critical. And that's happened to me countless times. So I think that that's really critically important. So I want to talk about each section just for a few minutes. One, the people interaction is so important. And you could experiment in that third category to try to learn things on your own. And it might take you 100 years to learn something, or you can learn it a lot faster from a great mentor or a great coach. So I think that your network is critical. Having a group of individuals that you respect, that you have a relationship with, that you can call upon, like I do as a healthcare leader. I reach out to other chief medical officers, chief executives, chief operating officers, chief nursing officers who've had tremendous experience, and they all have just things that they've done and done really well that you can call upon to ask them. And that's the thing I love about healthcare is everybody wants to help each other. Yeah, we're often in competition, but not really. It's more of, all ships rise with the tide, or a tide raises all ships, or whatever they say. But as we help each other, all of our patients benefit. And so, that's one kind of side note, is healthcare is just a great place to work with a bunch of tremendous people. So that being said, you have that network, and I think you should really grow your network. You should work on it. You should provide value to others so that they will also be willing to provide value to you. The things that you've learned and the things that they've learned. The second category, academics, man, there's so many great books out there. There's so many great courses out there. So take full advantage of those. We could spend forever talking about this. And lastly, it's the doing. So doing can be tough. I'll give you a couple examples of how effective it can be, though. So when I was in my master's program, I learned a tremendous amount. But the problem is that I retained a lot less than that. And it was in the projects. So, you're often like, oh man, we got this big project. It's challenging. I don't know if I want to do it. And I wish I didn't have to, right? No, you want to. You need to. And the reason is that is what makes it stick. And that's what I remember. I remember the concepts of the things that I had to use in my projects. So projects are great. Testing, everybody hates testing, but testing is really a tremendous way to retain. When I was in undergrad, I took a calculus course, and it was a great course, and it was super interesting. I really enjoyed it, and then we got to the final examination. It was hard. I did it in the summertime. It was super fast, and so it's hard to retain when you're going that fast. And the professor during the final exam said, "Hey, if any of you are happy with your grade, you can just say I want to keep my grade and walk on out of here. And I was out of that classroom before he finished his sentence, packing up my things and heading out of town. And, I cheated myself in doing that because I don't remember anything from calculus, like zero. And yeah, I don't use calculus on a daily basis or ever. And so I probably wouldn't remember it anyway, but I would have definitely retained it a lot longer if I would have taken that test. It would have helped kind of solidify some concepts in my mind that I might have retained even to today. So I think testing is super powerful. And I would just add that in this world of this emerging AI, large language models, etc., people often use the shortcut. So they'll use like ChatGPT, for instance, as their Google to ask questions, or they'll use it to make summaries of articles they have to read for class. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's helpful. I think that AI can often miss key concepts, and I've seen it time and again. I think what's super helpful is in having it test you, create a oral examination type situation. Because if you could teach something, you know it. And that's really, I think, where the proof is. So I've been having ChatGPT after each section of the AI in healthcare course I'm taking. Again, I've taken many of them, but this one has a lot of new information for me. I'm having it ask me questions at the end of each section. And what I also ask it to do is, after it asks me questions, I say, give me feedback. How did I do? What could be better? And then give me an executive level response. What would it be if I really knew it and I was in an executive meeting? What would be the right answer? And then I try to kind of restate in my own words the answer that ChatGPT gives me. And so that's been extremely helpful. I think that's a great way to learn and retain. And of course, the more I do outside that setting, the more I'll be able to remember it, because you got to keep doing in order to remember. But I guess that's my message for today, is just thinking about ways that you can learn, using AI to learn more effectively. Instead of dumbing down your learning, use it to raise it to the next level. Have a great day. It's been nice chatting with you for a few.